All right, we definitely gotta talk about this one, especially that we're heading into winter. In the next month or so, this is going to matter a lot. And here's get this. You wanna be able to see what could happen, or at least anticipate what could happen, so you can put yourself in a really good position. This is something that's important. Many people are not talking about it because we're looking into Twitter, like the deal and everything else. We're looking into all these other problems that are going on. But this is a very important variable that's going to play big time within a month or so. So, without further ado, let's just dive right into it. I'm going to read you an article first of what happened. Well, we're just going to kind of, go through it a little bit, and then I'll talk about why this is important. So, without further ado, let's just dive right into it. I'll show you guys here. This one, I'm sure you've seen it. You're probably thinking, okay, what is it? But hold on, just give me a little bit and I'll explain why. Russia and Saudi Arabia agreed to a massive cut to oil output. This matters a lot because if you look at some point this year, I'll show you exactly where we were. Right? The price of the barrel was about 120, or it was even higher, 120. But right now, it fell below $90. So the point for this, for whatever reason, because OPEC Plus is a 24 plus countries that have pretty much come together and decided to cut 2 million barrels a day, right? Obviously, this is going to prop up the price of oil. Obviously, they want the price of oil to go up. They want to be able to make money, even though they are citing uncertainty going into winter. All right, this is the one thing that I want you to remember from there, right? Because we know that energy is something that's been big since the beginning of this year. And we know that energy matters the most, especially during winter, right? And so if you look at these two things, you can already start to see how the picture is starting to look like, right? Not only that, the other thing that I want to talk about is we know that what the situation going on in Europe between Russia and Ukraine, the Russians are betting on the fact that when winter comes in, right, it's going to be really something big in terms of energy. They are pointing, or at least it's starting to look more like they're probably going to shut down completely the energy supply to Europe, which is going to prop up the prices even higher, right? And if it does that, we already have not only some stocks, but we already know there are some companies that have reacted to this situation specifically in the past, especially when this war started. The first 2 days when it all started, there are companies that actually reacted almost right away, and they did shoot all the way up to the top, like literally. And there is a chance of a repeat because I always say one thing: patterns tend to repeat themselves. And so every time when you see something happen and there was some conditions that made it possible to happen, and then later on the same type of condition is about to repeat itself, there's more chance, more like the likelihood for these same stocks to redo the same thing they did, it's much higher. And that's why I'm going to show you which ones they are. And I believe, at least for me, it's something worth looking into it. It's something worth paying attention into it. It's not an investment advice. You should not buy anything from somebody talking to you on YouTube, right? But this is my personal opinion because I'm looking at this pattern and I think it is worth looking into it. And so, another thing, we know that inflation itself has been something that we've been struggling with, right? In the US, we're in a core inflation, and that excludes energy and food prices, right? That so far is pretty much been stagnant. We don't really know where it's at, and the Fed have been reacting based on that. But do not forget that when the energy price starts to go up, obviously food is going to go up as well because you got transportation and everything and that get affected. But even goods and services, because guess what, those goods and services don't just transport from one place, or the goods, for example, they don't just go from one place to another at the same price they used to be. The trucks that are going to transport your clothing, anything that you buy, the price is going to go up based on that energy as well. And the service that the person who's going to be selling you whatever you're buying from the store, if it's the pants, it's the shorts, it's the shoe, obviously, if they have to pay more for transportation now, then they will have to charge you the service to be also higher. So it's kind of relative to itself, even though sometimes we try to say core, it's separated, or at least we take it out of food and energy. So now, this is probably going to make the situation again much worse, which you should anticipate what would the Fed would be doing next time, or at least next month when we get into it. Even though the US has decided to release another 10 million barrels by next month from the oil reserve. But that does not change the fact that this is a repeat, and I'll show you right now in the stock market, right? Indo. Right before we started really having the energy crisis, we were trading right below, as you can see, Indo, INDO, by the way, the stock, below somewhere $2, $4, and some change. And when the setup came that we knew energy was going to be affected, the war was about to start, and everything else, and all of a sudden, guess what happened? We shot up all the way to $86.99, almost $87, literally. And that happened within a few days, and it was all the way to the top. And then we started losing momentum, obviously, and then we got all the way into summer, and then we spent the entire summer. And guess what's happening? Because right now we are right where we were right before we had an energy crisis, or at least the beginning of the same setup that we are about to start having. Again, if you look right here, we're getting closer and closer. All these green dots that you see right here, these green dots, every single one of them, they are showing sending a signal of a short-term bullish. Again, the reason for this is not because it's an investment to put money into it, whatever, long term. This is literally a trade. This is something that could potentially repeat, because patterns always tend to repeat themselves, right? All these green dots are showing literally into the indicators, all the bullish, either short or medium terms that are signaling within this particular stock itself. This is not the only one, right? I'm going to show you another one. I believe it's IMPP, Imperial Petroleum. Here we go. Again, we're seeing the same thing. Again, right, if you look at the date, right, exactly February 22, literally that was like the bottom of the bottom. And then when this whole saga started, when we started seeing the rumors, there might be this, they're posting the soldiers and 100,000 soldiers at the border with Ukraine, and all this, it started translating into what energy could be like, because we know the country itself makes money based, or at least the revenue of the country is on energy and everything else. And then by the time they went in, look what happened. We went from 40 or 30 something cents all the way to $9.70, from 40 cents to $9. That is huge. Because of the same setup that's about to happen. Literally, the same setup is about to happen, and it's forming, right? This is something we've seen, and it looks like it's about to happen again. That tells me that something could potentially happen again. Doesn't mean it's gonna go all the way to $9. I don't know that. Nobody knows that. But it is possible that if this setup, and if it happens, which it's looking like it's going to, something will happen. However it's going to be, but something is going to happen. been in the market long enough to know what usually happens when you don't pay attention to the patterns. Or even when you do pay attention to the patterns, they literally repeat themselves. Anyway, so to cap up, I don't want to make it too long. I just wanted to show you that this is a catalyst to something that we're seeing that's potentially going to happen. Because everybody else is looking into Twitter and all. To me, if you have not bought Twitter yet, or if you did not buy Twitter when it was at the all-time low, it's too late. That's it. And so, and most of those are trade opportunities because we know Twitter's beta is not really that high anyway. And so if you don't have a huge capital to put into it into a long term, small capital on a short term, unless if you have a really good catalyst like what just happened, there's not really that much happening to Twitter most of the time. So when the herd is distracted, a good trader is supposed to be looking at what could potentially happen next by looking back of some of the things that we've seen before. So anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. As always, as for me, I will see you in my next video, if and only if. No. Please guys, don't forget to subscribe, smash the like button. There is a link for Webull in the description below. You and I will get 25 free actual fractional shares up to $3,000 each, which can go up to 60 grand after you deposit or sign up and deposit at least something within your account. And we both gonna get some free stuff. Who doesn't like free stuff? I do. Okay, thank you guys. I'll see you next time.